So a game with the most realistic soft body physics has a VR option. What could possibly go wrong? And at the same time, one of the most popular racing simulators, Assetto Corsa, also has a VR mod. So if you're playing in VR, which game will give you more realism, excitement and satisfaction? In this video, we will find out. So starting with BeamNG, let me share my first impressions of playing in virtual reality. I've played tons of VR games before, but BeamNG in VR offers an entirely new experience. I was used to playing it in usual mode, but the moment you switch to VR, it's like a whole new game. To give you a comparison, it's like watching travel videos on TV and then suddenly finding yourself on that very journey. The emotions are on a very different level. But before we dive into the gameplay, let me quickly explain what you need to run the game in VR. Of course, you will need a VR headset and steamvr installed. If you're using an Oculus headset, you also need their not so great app. And don't forget the cable to connect your headset to the PC. It must be a USB 3.0 or higher port. So we've launched the game using the vulkanrender, headed into the display settings and selected the VR mode. And then the magic happens. At first, all you want to do is just sit there and inspect the D series, familiar, but now in an entirely new way. Then you start driving, and trust me, if you never tried virtual reality before, you will be smiling with pure joy from the new feelings. Once you start driving in VR, you might think I would take it slow, avoid crashes and stick to safe maneuvers. But who am I kidding? 5 minutes in I was already causing absolute chaos. You see, the moment you feel like you are inside a real car, it's only a matter of time before you will want to try something wild. Stuff you would never attempt in real life. And that's where BeamNG.drive really shines. The game offers endless possibilities for pushing the limits and trying every insane idea you can think of. What about some learning in VR? Sure, you can use BeamNG VR to practice driving at high speeds, work on your parking skills, learn how to reverse like a pro, or even avoid accidents. Basically anything you can think of. The possibilities are endless because of how realistically this game represents real-life situations. But what if you're looking for some adrenaline, to push the limits with high-speed chases or risky maneuvers? Well, BeamNG has something to offer there too. For example, I spawned some traffic, hopped into a police car and worked as a city enforcer. No one was able to escape from me. Next I tried drag racing, which was just as fun. First of all, you can see your opponent very easily and you also feel the car better, which allows you to perform better at the dragstrip. The feeling of victory was incredible and of course, I didn't lose a single race. Another interesting thing to do is offroading. And it's so immersive that you can lean out of the window to check if your vehicle is making it over rough terrain. It gives a lot new feelings to a usual thing to do, because you're basically in there and interacting with the game. And my personal favorite extreme thing to do? Flying in the Gabriel Vertex. It's absolutely insane. I love it, but not all people can handle it. One small issue that can become a big problem. Here is the thing. A lot of people experience motion sickness in VR. It happens because your brain sees movement, but your body doesn't feel it. This can make you feel pretty bad, so if you're thinking of getting a VR headset, make sure that you can handle it. All in all, BeamNG in VR offers endless possibilities, whether you're looking to improve your driving skills or just have fun in the game. BeamNG has lots of potential for VR gaming. But there is one big challenge. Your PC needs to be a real powerhouse. My PC has some pretty high-end specs and I managed to run BeamNG VR on normal graphics settings with 4K monitor plus VR headset, which basically equals to 4 1080p screens. Normally I play the game in 4K with ultra graphics and graphics mods and get a solid 60 frames per second. But VR really pushes your system to its limits. On top of that, transmitting the image from your PC to the VR headset can be tricky. I use a cable, as Airlink didn't work for me. But even with the cable, you might notice some weird visual artifacts during fast movements in the game. However, Sometimes I was lucky, and with the cable I managed to get very stable and nice image. And also, while BeamNG's graphics isn't exactly cutting edge, it still looks impressive in VR. But in Assetto Corsa, graphics can go on much higher level. So if you talk about Assetto Corsa...
Hey, that's me! Yeah, so, I've been playing BeamNG and Assetto Corsa since they first came out, so I've built up a good amount of experience with both. Right now, I'm using an Oculus Quest 2 paired with an RTX 4070 Ti Super, so I can't really speak much about performance limitations, and the resolution of my headset isn't the best either, but I can still give you a solid first impression of both games in VR. Let's start with user friendliness. This does depend a bit on whether you're using modded or vanilla Assetto Corsa, but since it is a comparison video, I'll stick with vanilla. Assetto Corsa is really easy to set up in VR. It requires just a quick change after plugging in your headset, but it doesn't offer as many features. On the flip side, BeamNG has tons of features and enabling VR is supposed to be just one click too. Notice how I said supposed to? That's because I can't get it to work via cable, and even the wireless Air-Link requires a third-party tool to properly work on my end. It works flawlessly for literally any other game, but BeamNG just doesn't really want to work. If you run into similar issues, you might want to try this program out. There's a link in the description. So, when it comes to features, BeamNG clearly wins, but Assetto's VR mode is far more stable. Unlike the upcoming Assetto Corsa Evo, neither of these games were designed for VR, so it's not surprising that they aren't perfectly optimized. Both games have some issues with aliasing, but it's a lot worse in BeamNG. Performance-wise, Assetto runs smoother than BeamNG too, but even so, I find BeamNG more fun in VR. Besides its cool features like opening doors, hoods and trunks, and the walking mode of course, driving fast in BeamNG is super immersive and nailing a corner feels incredibly rewarding. However, when it comes to the topic of motion sickness, Assetto Corsa is the clear winner. I can race for hours, or well, at least until the battery dies, without getting dizzy, whereas BeamNG stutters even on high-end hardware, making me feel sick pretty easily. I should also mention that you can make Assetto look nearly lifelike with mods. Cruising down a highway at night with modded graphics in VR is about as close to real-life racing as you can get. And it doesn't stop there. With even more mods, you can activate hand tracking and even use the dashboard screen with your fingers. Heck, you can watch YouTube on there. Overall, I think BeamNG's VR mode is already pretty advanced and has a lot of potential, especially with TDEV hinting at next generation GPU features. Assetto Corsa's VR mode is simple but effective. It doesn't have as many features, but it does what it's supposed to do really well.
And if you are enjoying the video, please support it with a like, I would really appreciate it. So in comparing these two games, we can definitely say that Assetto Corsa is much more optimized for VR than BeamNG, allowing for smooth gameplay even on less powerful PCs. You can also enhance the graphics in Assetto Corsa significantly with mods. However, BeamNG holds for more potential for the future. Its physics engine unlocks endless possibilities, both for learning how to drive and for pure fun. Yes, BeamNG is more demanding in terms of hardware, but with better optimization under vulkanrender, this will likely become less of an issue. If you're trying VR racing for the first time, Assetto Corsa offers a great introduction with its smooth performance, but if you are looking for a deeper interactivity, unique features and countless ways to have fun, BeamNG is where the magic happens. It definitely surprised me. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, it really inspires and motivates me to create more content. And that's all for now. Thank you for watching, I hope you found something new and useful here. See you in the next video.